Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I'm here to review Sonic the Hedgehog. Now Sonic the Hedgehog is one of Paramount's latest films. And it's a film that had a very interesting start. The first trailer for this movie came out months ago and it was horrendous. It was not a great trailer. First of all, it wasn't a great trailer at all. But everyone freaked out about the design of Sonic the Hedgehog. Everyone saw that design and it freaked out. It creeped people out. It forced Paramount to go back to the drawing board and redesign Sonic to be more in line with his video game counterpart. So the new Sonic design is much better. It's more in line with his video game counterpart, right down to the way the size of his body, the size of his head and whatnot. Because the other one was like proportionated and like he looked more hairy and like they just tried to make it. He had like really like lips and fleshy teeth. It was creepy looking. This one looks a bit more like, and he had like beady eyes. This one looks like Sonic, the big eyes and this one is more Sonic the Hedgehog, but I digress. This movie I had very low expectations for. I think most people had very low expectations for how good this movie may or may not be. And in the wake of something like a Detective Pikachu that proved that you can pull this kind of a thing off very well if you take the time and you have love for the character and you have love for the world and you allow that the world to like feel real. So we know that this can be pulled off. So, Sonic the Hedgehog, I went to see this with Seth, I think is a movie that isn't as bad as you think it is, but it isn't, to me personally, it was better than I thought it would be, but that doesn't mean that it's a good movie. It doesn't mean that it's a great movie. I think that it's a really decent movie. And I'm gonna start with the negatives and then I'm gonna get into the positives. My negatives are the CGI on Sonic are still, I thought that when I saw the trailers and I still think this CGI for Sonic still reminds me of the classic vibe of the old school Alvin and the Chipmunks, the supernatural animalistic creatures in the real world. A la Alvin and the Chipmunks, a la Peter Rabbit, a la the Smurfs movie. Hell, the Smurfs movie even had one of the guys from this in it as the human guy. So James Marsden in it as the human guy. He was the human guy in the Smurfs movie as well. And it's kind of, to me, a lot of those movies were directed directly at kids. Now, Detective Pikachu broke the mold for me because it made the world feel real. It made the CGI and the people interacting feel like a normal occurrence. It made it feel like a normal thing. It made it like, yeah, this is everything. They made the world feel like you can understand these creatures and the people living in this city in harmony. This movie doesn't quite get there. Sonic still is a CGI effect out of the early 2000s. Honestly, if you put his CGI right next to the old school Smurfs movie and the Alvin and the Chipmunks movie, it's about really the same. The plot itself really isn't that complicated. Not that I needed the plot to be complicated. There is no twist. There is no turn. The dialogue is predictable. The way the movie plays out is predictable. Everything about this movie is predictable to the point where there are certain, you can ask Seth, there are points in this movie where I'm just outright just calling out the dialogue one beat by beat because I just know what's going to happen. There are things that are just ridiculous. And the one egregious thing about this movie is if you think for a minute, it's not going to make any fucking sense whatsoever. If you stop to think for a millisecond, if you ask a question, there were so many times throughout the course of this movie where me and Seth kind of went, but why didn't they just, okay. But that doesn't make any, but, okay. And like literally I just turned to Seth and I just said, if you're going to start asking this, like for instance, spoiler, there's a scene when Sonic finally starts running fast. When he starts like super running fast and there's this chase, he's throwing the rings, he's jumping through the rings, and it's a little cool, it's kind of a cool sequence. But he's sprinting to San Francisco, and when the camera pans around him, there are no people on the road. There's a bus just sitting there with nobody in it. There's cars that are getting hit that have nobody in it. It's just like, where is everyone? And it was one of those moments where I remember thinking to myself, Man, nobody about to ever talk shit about Marvel or the MCU or DC for that matter. Nobody ever talks shit about fucking superhero movies and Collateral Damage because this movie fucking erased people off the. And it's something that it's just I couldn't notice it because it was like a close-up shot on Sonic running and there was no people. Like there was no people at all. I was just like, where'd everybody go? It's things like that. That if and there's many incidences like that of that kind of level that if you stop and ask a question, you just won't be able to get any enjoyment out of the movie. The thing is, this movie, Detective Pikachu, to me was aimed at Pokemon fans, audiences, kids, and everyone. That's what I thought. It was aimed at Pokemon fans and everyone. This is aimed at Sonic fans and children. It is, because of the way that it's handled, the execution of it, the lack of detail in it. Sometimes, like I said, you just do not pay attention to things. The movie doesn't expect you to pay attention to things. And that's all I can really say about that without giving away everything. Now, Jim Carrey is a positive and a negative. It is something fun, especially as a 90s kid, especially as, a kid who was born in the 90s, and grew up early 2000s, basically. Seeing Jim Carrey be old school Jim Carrey, because make no mistake about it, this is old school Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, like The Mask Jim Carrey right here, man. He is animated. Problem is, I never for once bought the idea that the government would trust someone as crazy as him. That's one of those other things where you just kind of have to just not think about it, because I don't for once think that the government would trust someone as nuts as him. I don't for once think that people would actually work for this guy, as bad as he is and as frantic as he is. I don't for once think that this dude, like I said, he's just a little much. He's a little much in this movie for me. He's a lot of much in this movie for me. And on one hand, it is very nostalgic and also relieving because you haven't seen this Jim Carrey in such a long time that at first I actually liked it because I was like, it's been so long since I've seen this Jim Carrey. But after a while, I started to go, look, man, I'm fucking over this thing, man. I'm over you doing all this weird shit. And I'm like, dude, I get you, man. Okay, all right, fuck, man. Shit. It was a lot funnier when I was a fucking kid, man. But right now, like, I gotta tone it down a bit, man. It's a little much. Ugh. But, anywho. Yeah, so Jim Carrey's a plus and a negative. And at the end of the day, the actual story, the execution of the story is still one of those movies. It's still let's bring this magical CGI creature to the normal world to deal with normal things so we can do these gags about them doing this and them doing that. There's a bar that just pops up out of nowhere just at the gas station. There isn't any light even going towards the gas station. You just turn around and it's this bright ass bar with bikers there. And like, I guess there's gonna be a biker fight. They straight up rip off X-Men. Straight up rip off Quicksilver from Quicksilver scenes from the X-Men movies. You'll know it when you see it. They just straight up rip it off. But I will get to the positives. Positives are, though Sonic can be annoying sometimes, I think the actor did a great job portraying Sonic. I thought when he was doing the voice acting, sometimes there's voices like it took, like, for instance, Henry Cavill playing Garrett of Rivia took me a while to get used to. It took me a while to get used to that. Within the first 10 minutes, first few minutes of the movie, as soon as I started hearing his voice, I went, yeah, that's Sonic. He sounds like Sonic. He's hyperactive. He does a great job of being enthusiastic and whatnot. And I will say this, although this is clearly one of the movies I said, the human, dealing with the CGI magical creatures who can talk for some reason. Bad CGI magical creatures who can talk for some reason. I think these humans were actually not that bad, all considering. They actually had something going on with them other than just reacting to what the creature is doing. James Marsden did a pretty good job of interacting with the CGI creature, though it was hard because the CGI on Sonic isn't that great. And I'm saying great because I've seen great CGI done, better already. I mean, just look at Rocket Raccoon, a creature that's very in the same vicinity, idea of him, or look at Lion King, or look at something like that. Like, I've seen this CGI done much, much better. I know it can be done much better than this. So when I know it can go here, and you're giving me this, I'm like, well, I know it can go here. So I mean, you're just skipping on the money here. But anywho, this movie. So the humans weren't that bad. The humans, especially James Marsden, he wasn't that bad. The actual fight sequences were very nostalgic for the Sonic, for the Sonic video games. You're gonna get a kick out of that if you're a Sonic fan. But for me personally, I'm gonna have to give this movie. I'll give this movie a 6.5. Above average. It is above average because I will say this. I didn't hate this movie. I didn't come out of this movie like, I didn't come out of the movie like that. I just came out of this movie like it was a movie. It went by, it came, I saw it. It had some beats that I might remember. It has some probably not. It has some beats in it that I might remember. It has some beats in it I might not remember. But it has Easter eggs to Sonic fans, things that you will like, things that you'll see. It even has a post-credit scene that I'm not going to tell you about because I want you guys to see it. All in all, this is definitely not the best movie I've seen this week, but it's definitely, it's not the worst. It's better than I thought it would be. Right now, this movie is going to get a lot more praise than it probably should get, but I'm okay with that because I got nothing personally against this movie, so whatever. If you got to praise it, praise it. I'm not against anyone loving it more than I did because, I got nothing against this movie. It's not like a situation like maybe a Birds of Prey where I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. It's like, okay, if you like it, you like it. I don't understand anyone who likes this better than Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu runs circles around this movie, but I will say this movie's gonna get a lot more praise for the changes to Sonic because fans are taking that as a sign of a studio listening to them, so they're gonna want to repay the studio by going out and supporting the movie to show us studios that if you change things for us, we'll go and support it. So that's, so this movie is going to make a lot more, this movie's going to get a lot more pop buzz and whatnot off of that fact alone. But personally, it's a nice, fun kids movie. It's a nice, fun kids movie. An adult can go watch it. You're not going to pull your hair out. It's got a bit of nostalgia. Jim Carrey being there might be enough for the adults because it'll harken back to when they were younger as well. So, it's a nice little kids movie. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. There's nothing truly special about it. But the performance from the actor who played Sonic was I think was good. And Jim Carrey, when he's not going completely insane out of his mind, is pretty entertaining. And the fight scenes are pretty entertaining. I give Sonic the Hedgehog a 6.5. Thank you guys for joining me on the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.